special, or the second special that we're running is how off them. So if you put under and then under the winning margin, over a length, the distance of the horse. Okay, so we're betting on that too. Okay, we also betting on. Also have a winning trainer. We're betting 14 to 10 Justin Snape. Okay, he's got 3 runners in the race. So if any one of these 3 wins, okay, so we're betting 14 to 10. And we also we've also got a jockey booster, a match play. So Muzi Yeni, okay, races 1 and 7, or Richard Fourie races 2 and 7. Okay, so those are the specials that we're running. Okay, we also have a first deposit match, okay, for any new players, okay, that want to join us on WSB. It's a 20,000 Rand, okay, first deposit match. So anything up to 20,000, okay, we'll match it. And we also have a 20% booster. So if whatever you deposit, you'll match it by 20%.
Okay, apologies for being a bit slow out of the gate. We are experiencing some technical and sound issues, I believe. But we're going to be going through, firstly, the Hollywoodbets Durban July runners, and we're going to be taking them through from bottom of the betting boards all the way to the top of the betting boards. And you'll obviously have an opportunity to get boosted prices on every single one of these races. You can get top 3 finishes, the ordinary place betting, which is 4 places, and there are also specials on 5th place, 6 places. So there are so many betting opportunities courtesy of World Sports Betting. But obviously it's time now to welcome Richard Fourie and Dean Kannemeyer. Richard, firstly, lovely to have you in town. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show, and see if we can guide the public in the right direction.
Well, Richard, of course, is riding 8 on 18, but he's no stranger to winning the Hollywoodbets Durban July. He's done so on a number of occasions previously. And Dean Kannemeyer, he's saddled 3 previous July winners, and he's got the real prince going for him this year. Dean, welcome.
Graeme, thank you. Lovely to be on the show.
What a spectacular victory by your newcomer at the races today at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. I haven't seen a filly win first time up in KwaZulu-Natal by 9.5 lengths for a long time.
I thought she would just about win, but I didn't expect that, so
well,
quite
she
excited.
did more than just about win. Right, let's get to the business at hand. We're going to kick off with Rainbow Lorikeet. I'll come back to Steve in a moment with the current price and the boosted price, and once it's up on there, you've got 3 minutes in which to claim the boosted price. But first of all, a quick comment from Richard and Dean. Rainbow Lorikeet, Richard, the only filly in the race, trained by Candice Bass-Robinson. She became the first filly trainer to win the July with Marineresco a number of years back. Appropriate that she saddles the only filly in the race.
Yeah, it is. It also brings the ladies to the races. I think it's important. Yeah, the filly, I've seen her in and around races. I think it's just a touch on the far side for her.
Dean, she's a multiple Grade 3 winner, but for her, this is a huge step up. Big challenge for her.
I think it is a big challenge for her. She's won 6 races. She's game. But I agree with Richards. It's going to be quite a tough call on Saturday.
So, Steve, I've got in front of me 70 to 1 is the current price, but let's boost that.
Okay, so for the next few minutes, we're going 100 to 1. And then there's a second boosted price.
And we're not sharing that second boosted price at the moment. So 100 to 1 for the next 3 minutes if you fancy Rainbow Lorikeet. And I can tell you that for a top 3 finish, you can get around 20 to 1, but more about the place betting a little bit later on. So Rainbow Lorikeet, the only filly in the race, the biggest outsider in the field. Next up is Purple Pitcher himself, a multiple Grade 1 winner, currently at 66 to 1. Now, talking about lady trainers, of course, Purple Pitcher is also trained by a lady trainer, Robin Claassen. Dean, he pitched up last year. Purple Pitcher, he was quietly fancied, disappointed his connections with a below par effort in the 2024 Hollywoodbets Durban July. and I'm not sure that his prep has been absolutely ideal for this year's race.
Yeah, he's been a very game horse. He's won 7 races, drawn 12, 57.5 on his back. He's a type of horse, could be doing his best work at the finish, but I think it's just going to be a tough call for him.
Richard, I know we're just starting to get through the field, but perhaps a word about the pace, because Purple Pitcher generally is one of those to like to go forward. We know that Oriental Charmer also likes to go forward. He's drawn in pole position. Purple Pitcher, make any kind of appeal to you?
Well, look, one thing we know is he likes to be up handy. I've raced against him up in the Highveld, and he needs to roll along a little bit. The good thing is he's got the stamina. He'll get the trip comfortably. It's no easy task. He's the kind of horse that likes to almost have it his own way.
Back to you, Steve. 66 to 1. What's the boosted price?
Our first boost is 90 to 1, and the second boost is 85 to 1.
85 to 1 the second boost, 90 to 1 the first boost. If you are looking to have a few quid on Purple Pitcher, you've got 3 minutes in which to do so. 18 to 1 a top 3 finish, and 12.5 to 1 a top 4 finish. Pomodoro's Jet also amongst the outsiders. Now, talking about ideal preps, Pomodoro's Jet won his last 3 starts, include a listed feature, but we haven't seen him since March. Richard, one of 2 runners in the race, owned by the Kaya stables. This is stable companion to Oriental Charm. James Crawford trains in the Highveld. Pomodoro's Jet, formerly trained in the Western Cape. What do you know about him?
No preparation into this Durban July. I think it makes it very, very tricky. I've never heard of a horse or seen a horse have 3 months off and come and win the Durban July, the Hollywoodbets Durban July. So, question marks, lots of them. The trip, definitely a biggest question mark, and just the prep, mostly.
Dean, you're the trainer. Richard's the rider. You have to prepare horses for big races. Picking up on Richard's point, hasn't been seen since March. What do you make of that?
That's not easy to do. And, he's been a genuine horse. He's done very well for Kaya Stables, and they've done a very good job with him. But I think it's also going to be tough coming into the July of a 2-2 when he hasn't had a prep run in between. So, but he's done well for them.
Currently at 50 to 1, Pomodoro's Jet. Steve, let's hear the boost.
Okay, the boost is 80 to 1 the first boost, and 75 to 1 the second boost.
80 to 1 the first boost, and 75 to 1. If all the 80 to 1 is claimed, you can still get into some of the 75 to 1. Pomodoro's Jet is, of course, a son of a former July winner. Now, drawn worst of all in the field and currently quoted at 33 to 1. I have to say he looked exceptional at the official gallops at Hollywoodbets Gravel just the other day. I'm referring, of course, to the third string to the Justin Snaith bow. That is Native Ruler. Again, I'll start with you, Richard, because obviously you're close to the stable. They've got Native Ruler, Okavanga, and of course 8 on 18. He's drawn 18. Tristan Godden takes the ride. It's not going to be easy, although I thought he presented really well at the gallops.
Well, Mr. Kannemeyer can relate to this. The good ones can win from anywhere. Dynasty 17 draw, Bulgarian 17 draw. There's a whole range of horses that's won from that draw. So I like the gallop. It looked really good. Tristan got his second ride. So the nice thing about it is he's got absolutely no pressure. He can go out there and have fun. And who knows, it might just surprise. He's a young, talented horse, and he carries no weight, and definitely a horse that can be in a shake-up.
Riding 8 and 18, are you in any way scared you might get beat by Native Ruler?
We'll get to that question later.
Dean, Native Ruler drawn on the outside. Now, I guess some of the traditionalists will be rolling in their graves. He's a one-time winner coming into the Hollywoodbets Durban July, but of course we know that the style of racing, the whole profile of racing has changed over the years with the introduction of merit rating. What you can't take away from Native Ruler is that he's been Derby placed, he's been placed in the Daily News 2000, he's getting a few kilograms from 8 and 18, which he didn't get in those particular races. He's currently at 33 to 1. Do you see any value in Native Ruler drawn on the extreme outside?
I think he's improving horse as by Vercingetrix. He's got 54 on his back as a 3-year-old. 18 draw is going to be quite tricky. But he's a horse that can run into the exotics.
So Native Ruler, I'm surprised, I have to say, Steve Karam, that he's as short as 33 to 1. So I hope you're going to give us a decent boost here.
Well, I think at 50 to 1 is a nice price. Okay, that's our first boost. Our second boost after that is 45 to 1.
So 50 to 1, the first boost. Native Ruler, you know the deal. You've got 3 minutes to get on. If you're a Native Ruler fan, Tristan Godden, as you heard there from Richard Fourie, riding in his second July. He had a winner again this afternoon. We're recording this on the Sunday evening following the race meeting at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, and it was nice to see Tristan Godden in the winners' enclosure today. Native Ruler, currently 33 to 1, 50 to 1 is the boosted price. As we move on to the South African Classic winner, Confederate. He was meant to run the other day, didn't fulfill his engagement. We know that he's a real top horse. Confederate Dean, you must have kept an eye on him because he is a Grade 1 Classic winner. He also likes to go forward. He's a free running type. What do you make of his chances?
Well, he's obviously improving horse too. You know, he won the SA Classic, and he's drawn 14, but he's a 3 with 53.5 on his back. So I've got to respect him.
He missed his engagement, Richard, in the Daily News. That's well documented, but they did get in a run over 1,600 metres at Turfentine just the other day. He ran second. Nice little blowout, nice little prep run. Another horse, as I said, that likes to go forward. He's obviously got a touch of class about him.
Yeah, look, when Craig Zaki won on him in the Classic, the speed was really hot, and top of the straight he stretched us even harder, and it just kept stretching, and he never came back. So definitely a high rolling galloper, lots of stamina there, got the likes, or in the hands of a very good jockey, Warren Kennedy, lightweight as well, so he's full of confidence, and yeah, it's definitely a horse that's going to be up there and dictating the speed and keeping it on his gallop.
Well, it's absolutely, Steve, it's absolutely fantastic for the Hollywoodbets Durban July to welcome Warren Kennedy, of course, a South African champion jockey. And after leaving our shores, going on to win the championship in New Zealand, incredible feat by Warren Kennedy. He rides Confederate, as Richard has mentioned. Not often that an SA Classic Grade 1 winner is this wide out in the betting. He's at 33 to 1. Tell us about the boost.
So the boost is exactly like Native Ruler. We're going 50 to 1 for 3 minutes, and then we are going 45 to 1 after that.
So if you fancy a little bit of Confederate, and I suspect there are a group of gentlemen down on the Highveld that will fancy the chances of Confederate, and it might be music to your ears that there's 50 to 1 available about the SA Classic winner for the next 3 minutes, and the fallback price thereafter will be 45 to 1 as we move on to Okavango. Another stable companion to 8 on 18. He's saddlecloth number 13. He's currently at 25 to 1. Dean, I'll start with you and have Richard give us the last word about Okavango, because obviously he knows the horse quite well. What do you make of Okavango? He's also been like Native Ruler. He brings similar credentials into the race, sort of the Daily News form. There wasn't too much to choose between them. He also was placed in the World Sports Betting 1900. What do you make of Okavango?
I think Okavango is improving horse. He's lightly raced. He's only had 9 runs. He's won 3. But I've got to respect him. Drawn 13, 54.5 on his back. You've got to include him.
Richard, is this a race that perhaps, we use the word perhaps because we can never be certain about these things, but perhaps is this race just coming too soon for him in his career in terms of how he's maturing and developing?
Well, he ran a very good third in the Hollywoodbets Daily News, and gave him £15 penalty. So that's why he's got a rating now at 120. But saying that, he won in Cape Town with me from near last, and he just ate up the ground, quickened off really nicely in the hands and hardly contested. So does he belong in the race? Yes. Did it come a bit soon? Perhaps. I think he would have been a much nicer horse next season, but he's one of those happy guys. He just goes along and does his business. He's had 3 starts here now. He's a fit, ready horse. Andrew Fortune works him a lot. He's a fun horse to ride. He doesn't really show off too much when he's by himself, but when you put him with a companion, he really comes alive. So I think Andrew Fortune will be quietly confident in his mounts, and I'm pretty sure the whole team at Team Snaith is also quietly confident in him.
I have no doubt that Andrew will give him every possible chance of finishing as high up in the field as he can at the end of the 2,200 meters, but he's very confidently on record that despite the weight difference between the two that ought to on paper bring them closer together when you consider the daily news form, that there is no chance he'll ever finish in front of 8 on 18. But perhaps wouldn't be surprised to see him run into the money?
Oh, no, definitely. Like you're saying, I am giving weight to him, but different caliber of horse. I think he's ready now, and he'll definitely be in the top 8 finish.
So Steve, Okavango currently trading at 25 to 1. By how much are we boosting him?
So we're boosting him to 35 to 1 the first 3 minutes, and thereafter to 33 to 1.
So 25 to 1 Okavango is the ruling price. The boosted price is 35 to 1 for the next 3 minutes, and thereafter 33 to 1. Now an interesting horse is the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial winner. And I say interesting because Madison Valley, who's drawn a good gate in number 2, stall gate number 2, the last 2 winners of the Hollywoodbets Durban July came into the race off the back of a victory in the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial. And I'm referring, of course, to Winchester Mansion in 2023 and Oriental Charm in 2024. Madison Valley, Richard, no stamina doubts. I thought he galloped really well. He's got a good draw. Can lightning strike for the 3rd time in terms of the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial? Is he a horse that you a little concerned about?
Well, you've got to respect those horses. You know, those races are invitational or like guarantee invitations into the race, and you've got to win them. And a lot of horses that prep for the July win those races. His win was good. I took the lead last time and we started getting into a ding-dong tussle, and you know, we quickened away from Underworld that day, and at supplementaries Underworld was put back into the Hollywoodbets Durban July, but I think they made the right decision by running him in the mile on the day. So yeah, he does stay well. He's got a lovely draw. I think just the race will plan out very nicely for him, and see if he's got that big kick in a sort of caliber race like it is.
We don't mind sharing other information. Chatting off air, Underworld, going to be very tough to beat in that 1,600 metre race, but we're focusing on the Hollywoodbets Durban July. Dean, you know your horses, obviously. You looked at the gallops, you've watched the opposition because you've got a live wire yourself in the race in the form of the Real Prince. We'll get to the Real Prince a little bit later on. Madison Valley for Frank Robertson and owner Sid Moodley. Do you give him any kind of chance of finishing in the top 4 positions?
Look, you know, I think looking at this field and looking at him, comes in with 54, he's drawn 2. But my opinion is I think he's also got his work cut out in South Africa.
So Madison Valley, definitely a tougher task this time around, but he won the key race leading into the race. He won the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup Trial Grade 3 of 1,800 metres, which, as I mentioned earlier, has been a solid point into the race. He's 25 to 1 in the market, and I guess we're doing the same for Madison Valley as we were doing for Okavango, Steve.
No, unfortunately we're not. We're going 33 to 1, our first boost, and the second boost 30 to 1.
You're a little nervous about Madison Valley?
I'm not, but the traders are.
The traders are a little nervous about Madison Valley, so clearly they do believe, notwithstanding that Okavango and Madison Valley are both quoted at 25 to 1 at the moment, they're happy to give a little bit of a bigger stretch about Okavango than they are about Madison Valley. Now we've got another 25 to 1 chance, and this is a very interesting horse. I'm delighted to see Alan Creef having a runner, the first East Cape runner since 2004, the first time that Alan Creef is saddling a horse in the Hollywoodbets Durban July. He won the East Cape Derby in an absolute doddle. He's won his last 6 starts, and he's been partnered on each and every occasion by Richard Fourie. So we'll get to Richard in a moment, but let's kick this one off with Dean Kannemeyer. Dean, clearly from a minor centre to a major centre, but you can only win what's put before you. Your impressions of My Best Shot?
You know, he hasn't put a foot wrong, you know, and his form is solid in Port Elizabeth, and he's won, I think he's won how many races, about 10 races or so. So he's done exceptionally well. But Richard will tell you more about that. But it could be a different ball game coming up from Port Elizabeth to take them on in the July. But Alan's done a fantastic job with him. But I still think, it's a different ball game.
Alan's had a wonderful season travelling horses. I know they've been with his 2-year-olds. He's been to Cape Town and to Pietermaritzburg to win with Direct Hit. He's been to Johannesburg to win with Golden Palm. But there's nobody better here tonight to tell us about My Best Shot than Richard Fourie. And I will preface what he's about to say. I chatted to him off air. I said, asked him the question. I said, where does My Best Shot fit into the pecking order? He said, top 6. Over to you, Richard.
True story. Look, he's a smart horse. I would have probably preferred him to run in the Hollywoodbets Durban July next year. I think he would have been a perfectly placed horse, running probably off a rating of 120 then, and being an older horse, a year older, he'd carry 54. So I think that would have been the right sort of scoop. I think he's a lot better than some of the horses in the race. I know he's winning in P, and obviously the fields are not as strong as anywhere else in the country, but it's the way he was winning, It's not what he was beating, it's the way he's winning the races, and he's always building and getting better. Since the gelding, he hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's just every time he comes to the race course, he got better and better and a lot more confident in himself, and finishing his races off really well, pretty much uncontested. So I still think he's quite a bit of a roughie in the race, and he tries really hard, and I think Chase Majan will have good fun, and it's just great for the boss to have a horse in the Hollywoodbets Durban July with his owners.
Steve, My Best Shot is at 25 to 1, and the boosted price?
So the boosted price is 35 to 1, and the second boost at 33 to 1.
So the first boost, the next 3 minutes, 35 to 1, About My Best Shot, who comes into the race off the back of 6 consecutive victories in the East Cape. Now we move on to the Betway Summer Cup winner, trained by Alec Laird, who of course won the 100th running of this great race way back then. This is the 129th renewal, so Alec Laird tries 29 years later to win the 129th renewal after winning the 100th race with London News. He's got the Betway Summer Cup winner, Atticus Finch. His saddlecloth number 4, his drawn in gate number 4. Richard, Atticus Finch, another that can race handily, can make use of that good draw.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stamina, but I think Graeme might just catch him out short straight. He's a rolling kind of horse, and you need a little bit of turn of foot when it comes to Graeme. He's got 57 kilos, but he's a tough horse. So you got to respect him. He won the Summer Cup, so definitely not a horse to leave out. I think if things go his way and he can get him mobile, it could get him closer to the line.
Dean, of course, the name Laird, apart from Alec having won the 100th race, the name Laird is synonymous with such a great legacy. When you look back over the records, Sid Laird, of course, holds the record with 7 wins. Alex won the race. Charles has won the race. Do you think he has any chance of repeating the London News success here with Atticus Finch?
Well, I don't think he's out of it. He ran a very good race last time, I think in the Jubilee. He had top weight at 60. Needed edge at 52, but Alec knows what he's doing. I've got to respect him, also include him.
So Atticus Finch is 22 to 1 at the moment. The boost?
So the boost is 35 to 1, and the second boost is 33 to 1.
So the boost and the second boost, the same as if he was quoted at 25 to 1, which is not. Again, I just note that there was a slight edginess about stretching too far on Madison Valley in that group of horses. So Atticus Finch at 35 to 1 for the next 3 minutes, and 33 to 1 the second boost. Royal Victory, here's the horse that was placed in last year's running of the Hollywoodbets Durban July. Unfortunately, Nathan Cotson's run is drawn in gate 17. Muzieni, who's stuck with Royal Victory, is a multiple Grade 1 winner. He's a high-class individual. He's a robust, strong horse. He's a galloper. Richard, Royal Victory, placed last season. He's a multiple Grade 1 winner. Is he a horse to respect?
I think if he had a nice softer draw around 7 or 8, he would have been right on top of him. I just think It's tough to ride from that draw to make a decision if you want to press him a little bit forward or give him a chance. You're going to have to make up a lot of ground. He won the Summer Cup coming from way off them. He can make up ground, but also concerned about the straight with him. Otherwise, no respect at all.
Dean is as honest as the day is long. He's obviously got the ability to win at the highest level. He's holding his form nicely. He was a little naughty at the Gallops, but he presented himself well. He looked nice when they took the blinkers off away he went. I thought he did enough to suggest that if he can overcome the draw, he's got to be a player.
Definitely, he's been a very good horse. I mean, Nathan's done a fantastic job with him. I tipped him last year on the first 3, I think. He did run third in the July Cup. But carrying 59 in the July is not going to be easy. But he's been a wonderful game horse, and he's done the owners proud. But always got to respect him.
20-1 Royal Victory. What can we look forward to?
33-1 is the first boost, and the second boost is 30-1.
33-1. If you fancy Royal Victory, you've got 90 seconds. Sorry, 3 times 60. Let me get my maths right. 180 seconds to grab some of that 33-1 Royal Victory. And I have to say, for a horse with his profile, 33-1 sounds pretty attractive to me. Now a horse that's getting a lot of talk. Every street corner here in Mshlanga, I'm hearing one name, and that's On My Honor, who ran third in the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial behind Madison Valley. Splitting them was Underworld. On My Honor, of course, trained by Glenn Cotton. He's won the race with Big City Life. Samanga Kamala takes the ride. He's won 2 Julys. On My Honor, Richard, he's clearly improving, out of sight improving. His gallop was impressive. He's got a nice slow weight. His Guineas run was reasonably good, although well beaten by 8 on 18. Is he heading in the right direction? Is he a player in this race?
I'll tell you one thing. Last time around, there was one really, really angry jockey coming back into the jockey room. Because the instruction were to give the horse a chance, and we went so slow in front. Myself, obviously, being on Underworld and Litigation at the lead, and we didn't really turn on the speed. This horse was caught a little bit flat-footed, but flew home. I think where he's drawn, SK, Bling riding him. I think if Smango Kumalo comes to the racecourse with blonde hair, he means business. I think he's done it twice. Where he dyed his hair, and he's won those 2 July. So I think when he comes there, I think that will be a very big telltale. But the horse belongs here. I've raced against him quite a bit. He is a mystery horse, but he's got no weight to collar, and he can stay.
Dean obviously is trained out of the Western Cape. He didn't have a great summer season, but it's well documented that the Glen Cotton stable had a pretty bad virus. He wasn't the only one who had a pretty bad virus at a critical time of the year through December, January and February in Cape Town. The last thing you want any of your horses to have is any kind of virus. But he seems to have emerged from that with intent. On My Honor, do you respect him?
I've got to respect him. I think he's also an improving horse. He's drawn 3. He's got 53 on his back. Nice galloping weight for his 3-year-old. You've got to respect a horse like this. Nice galloping weight. I know he ran behind Madison Valley the other day. He had 59. But yeah, I've got to respect him.
16-1 in the betting. Let's hear what Steve has got by way of a bonus for us.
I've been told that this horse is flying at home. We obviously sponsor the Cotton stable, and the message I got from Glenn was to tell all the punters that he's flying at home, and apparently Samanga Kumala doesn't want to know. So our first boost is 25-1, and the second boost is 22-1.
25-1 the first boost for the next 3 minutes. We'll watch out to see if Bling arrives at Hollywoodbets Gravel with blonde hair. If he does, watch out. On My Honor could be right there when the photographs are taken at the end of the 2,200 meters. Now moving on to a horse that I've got a great deal of respect for personally. He won the World Sports Betting 1900 in very convincing style. He comes out against 6. This is Salukwe. And Salukwe is from the Andre Nel stable, and Serena Moodley takes the ride. The combination have been in pretty good form. Richard, Salukwe, you had to be impressed with his win in the World Sports Betting 1900. It was a huge step up from what he had previously shown us.
But he won like a good horse. It was a nice fast pace. Took the outside run, and he really, really quick and well home. So yeah, definitely horse to respect.
Dean, Salukwe?
I agree with Richard. I think I was very impressed with his win the other day. He really turned it on, and I always say he's an old horse with 54, drawn 6. So I think he's a big runner here.
So there we go, a measure of confidence about the chances of number 6, Salukwe. I definitely personally think he's got a bright chance of at least finishing in a quartet position. I think he'll be finishing his race off really well when others are perhaps, Steve, coming up for some air. He's 15 to 1 in the anti-post market. Give us some good news.
So the good news is the first boost is at 22 to 1, and the second boost is at 20 to 1.
22 to 1, Salukwe, and 20 to 1 is the fallback position. Right now we're going to take a short break. We're going to cross to Belmont for race 3, and we'll be back with you in just a very short while.
Guys, I'm getting messages that people can't hear us around me. Apparently there's music playing in the background when I talk.
to our World Sports Betting card call for the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July, and immediately thereafter the Grade 1 Richmond's Garden Province Stakes over 1,600 metres. We got as far as Zuluque. The boost price was 22 to 1, but we move on now to the horse that was runner-up in 2023 and then a rather unlucky fifth last year when hampered at a crucial stage of the race. He might well have run third. I am, of course, referring to See It Again, who is currently trading at 14 to 1. We'll get the boosted price from Steve in just a moment. Dean, obviously a little bit of a hiccup at the Gallops on Thursday. He didn't gallop, he came to the races. There was a slightly elevated temperature. As a trainer, 10 days in or 10 days out from a big race such as Hollywoodbets Durban July, that's not the kind of hiccup that you're really looking for. Second in 2023, ran an unlucky fifth in 2024. I was chatting to Dean, clearly not in his favour that he wasn't able to gallop on Thursday, slightly elevated temperature. I think just in case we lost the comment, Dean, I'm not sure what went out, what didn't go out, but from a trainer's perspective, that is clearly not something you're looking for.
When you go for these Group 1 races, nothing must go wrong in the preparation. And you know, he was a good 3-year-old, and he's a good racehorse, but I think this is the third time he's going to have a go. But you remember correctly, Jamaican Music, Bert Abercrombie, he won it for the third time. First time Tom Ratley fell off, and then he ran, I think Carl Nisius rode him, and then he won it the third time, Bert Abercrombie. But not ideal prep.
Richard, See It Again is a horse that's been around the block. We know him well. He was a top-class dual grade winning 3-year-old. He's trained by one of the icons in the game. He's trained by Michael Roberts. He runs for Nick Johnson, as does 8 on 18. Nick Johnson shares 8 on 18 with Johan Rupert. See It Again on best form, clearly a chance, but obviously maybe a few concerns that you might harbour.
Yeah, look, at best form, definitely a runner. Also a big concern, him not being able to gallop because he had the elevated temperature. It does raise a lot of concerns. You want to see these horses showcase their well-being and things like that. I think that's why the gallops are there, so the public can come and see them, maybe for their first times even. So, scary, yes. Not ideal, but he does stay well. He jumps from a little bit of an awkward draw. It's not an easy horse to ride, but I'm sure Mr. Roberts can do a full 180 on him and get him back and ready on the day.
Well, Raymond Danielson is the man in the irons aboard See It Again this year, and he's quoted at 14 to 1 in the betting. What about the boost?
So the first boost was 20 to 1, Gray, and the second boost is 18 to 1.
So 20 to 1, See It Again. If you fancy him, if you expect him to bounce back, as I said, this race, you can say, as I've said before, that he might have unfinished business as far as the Hollywoodbets Durban July is concerned. Certainly on his very best form, see it again would be a live runner here. So we're getting down towards the top of the betting boards now, and a very interesting runner is number 5, The Real Prince. He has a speed pedigree. He's not the same type as his brother. He's a classic looking horse. He won the Jetmaster Stakes over 1,600 meters in commanding fashion, in exhilarating fashion, racing away from the opposition to win by 5 or 6 lengths. He showed us a burst of acceleration in the Independent on Saturday Drill Hall Stakes when he came from the other tail of the field to finish a close 4th. That was over 1,400 meters. We introduced Dean Kannemeyer as a July winning trainer. He's trained Dynasty, Eye of the Tiger, Power King in the same silks as The Real Prince. The question is, and you've been asked this over and over and over again, is will he stay? So that's the obvious question. And if your answer to that is yes, I have to ask, given the pedigree, why do you think he'll stay?
I'll make him stay. However, his mother was very good. But when we bought her, Sean Malad and myself, 4 Car Stables, and a pedigree and a female line, a 4-tooth mare, he stammered on that second dam. And the first time I tried him over a mile, he won by 5-6 tenths. Great run the other day in the draw stakes. But I had to box smartly. I think we discussed it at Scottsville. And he's a very easy horse to ride. He switches off completely. He's got a hell of a turn of foot. But he's doing well. He's galloped twice since that run. I galloped him up the hill at Summerfelt, and then on last Thursday he galloped from the 1400. And it was a good hard gallop. And I worked him with a horse that's a good worker back home. I didn't want to make him look smart. But, I'm going to go in the confidence, easy horse to ride. If he stays, he'll turn it on up the straight.
So you're drawn in gate 5. You and Craig have developed a reputation for often giving your horses a big chance by dropping them out in the early stages in these big races. Can we expect similar tactics?
And he's drawn 5, and I said he's an easy horse to ride, but he's going to be in no rush to try and get up there. But he'll just get him where he's comfortable.
Richard, you've seen the turn of foot. You saw the turn of foot in the Jetmaster Stakes. You saw the turn of foot in the Independent on Saturday Drill Hall Stakes. Of course, we need to know whether or not he's going to be able to turn it on over this sort of trip, 2,200 meters. And what is your feeling? What is your gut feeling?
Well, I thought this horse was lining up really, really well for the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge. It looked like his race on his prep run in the Drill Hall. And next thing you know, he's not even in the race, and that race was wide open again. So take nothing away from Dave the King. He's a top horse. But yeah, coming into this race, I remember a good couple of years back, Mr. Kannemeyer trained a horse called Power King. I don't think he also went anywhere near the distance until the Hollywoodbets Durban July. So the man's got a formula. I must respect him. Older horse can turn it on. Things might just work out for him. And the gallop also, he didn't show much off. He looked very, very sleepy, which was a good sign that he can definitely pick it up and quicken off that. So yeah, if he falls asleep and turns it on like that, it'll be a scary horse.
Okay, so now let's get to the business. The Real Prince quoted at 13-1. He's got a fan club out there, Steve, so they're waiting to hear what you prepare to offer.
So the first booster's 18-1, and the second booster 16-1.
So if you're looking for the Real Prince, and Dean Kannemeyer is quietly confident he's going to get home over the 2,200 meters, he's got a great burst of acceleration. 18-1 for the next 3 minutes if you're looking to get on to number 5, the Real Prince. We got 4 to go, and the fourth to last is the Real Warrior is what I call him. His name suggests that he is just that. Number 16, Gladiatorian. You cannot fault his form. He was a great winner of the Independent on Saturday Drill Hall Stakes. He was a fast finishing 3rd in the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge. He's won over 1,750 meters, not beyond that. So the similar question to that which we asked of the real prince is, will Gladiatorian get home over 2,200 metres? Personally, I think he will. But Richard, you've watched his races, you know what he's all about. Stuart Ferry's first ever runner in a July. Gladiatorian, any concerns as far as the trip is concerned?
Well, I think the jockey is more confident that the horse can do the trip. He knows his horse well. He loves that horse. Doubtful, you know, you can start looking at things to find reasons, but he rides him well. He's the type of horse that you just leave alone, and he can quicken up. And I was very, very chuffed with the way he ran on the other day in the Gold Challenge. So not a horse to leave out. He's definitely a hard knocker, and he carries a bit of weight. But very excited for Mr. Fourie to have his first Hollywoodbets Durban July runner, and for his owners, and obviously for Sean Veal, because he's so confident in the horse. So just based on all that, there's obviously a lot of work and effort going into him back at home, and they would have done their homework.
Dean, Gladiatorian, certainly on his pedigree, he should comfortably stay 2,200 metres. It's a lot of stamina on the dam side. He's about as honest and as genuine and as brave as they come.
I agree with you. Last run was a great run. And he was eating them up the last furlong and a half, or last 300 metres of the race. He's out of it. He's by Verse and Getrix out of a dynasty mare. If he stays, he's not out of it. But 60, not easy to win the July at 60. But I've got to respect him. He's a very smart horse.
Yeah, obviously incurred a little bit of a penalty running third in the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge. So he's risen to joint top weight for the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July. But nonetheless, he's got his followers. He's 13-1 in the betting. But there's quite an attractive boost here.
Absolutely. So the first boost is 20-1. The second boost is 18-1.
So the Mauritian contingent to own the horse trained by Stuart Ferry. If you're looking to get on with World Sports betting in the next 3 minutes, 20-1 is the attractive price. Now we come to the single figure priced horses, and we come to the team of Matthew and Mike de Kock. We come to Immediate Edge, who is drawn smack bang in the middle of the field, gate number 10. He was the winner of the Grade 3 Jubilee Stakes. Coming into this race, he comes in very much under the radar. He's lightly raced, but Mike de Kock describes him as a proper horse. Justin Snaith looking for his 6th July victory. So is Mike de Kock. Of course, he trains now in partnership with his son Matthew. Wonderful to see father and son preparing these kind of horses for the big races on the South African racing calendar. Richard, I'm going to come to you first. Immediate Edge. If I had to have a doubt, maybe he's not ready for a challenge like this. I know Mike de Kock thinks he is. He only carried 52 kilograms when winning the Jubilee, but beware underestimating anything that the de Kock team brings to the races on the big day.
Very true. And you look at his form where he beat Wellington. He had to really scrimmage on the inside rail to get through the gap. So I know it was only a short hit, but I think if he was left alone so he can move freely, he would have won a lot further. Then I'm pretty sure he had a very big excuse when he got beat 11 lengths. I think it probably some dirty track wash, or I know that the horse wasn't 100%. So his rating is wrong. He hasn't had the chance to actually showcase what he's all about. Mr. de Kock really believes in the horse. He wouldn't just run a horse in the race for the sake of running it. So there's obviously a lot of flair at home. He's won this race many times. He's still got to respect this young horse.
Dean, Immediate Edge, I'm not sure if you've had the chance to have a look at some of the replays of his victories to date, including, of course, his most recent, which was the Grade 3 Jubilee Stakes, the race which actually got him into the final field. Immediate Edge, your impressions?
I agree with everything you said early on. This horse is under the radar. 1-8, they gelded him to come back. Yeah, I know he only had 52 or 52 and a half in the Jubilee, but you know, and so Michael, no mug, nicely drawn, and I think he's an improving horse, and I'm making him a very big runner.
7-1, the standard price for Immediate Edge as we head into the final week before the Hollywoodbets Durban July. But Steve, give us some more good news.
10-1 first boost, 9-1 second boost.
So there we go. If you fancy immediate edge, and 10-1 is a big stretch on 7-1, one has to say in percentage terms. So the first boost for immediate edge is 10-1 and the second boost is 9-1, but you've got 3 minutes in which to claim the 10-1. Go online, get onto your site, claim the price if you fancy number 10 immediate edge, will be ridden by Kannemeyer. So just as we welcome Warren Kennedy back, we've also welcomed Kannemeyer back, and of course he wasted no time in getting into the Grade 1 winners enclosure with Dave the King just the other day. 2 to go as far as the Hollywoodbets Durban July is concerned before we move on to the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes. And the second favourite at this point in time is last year's winner, Oriental Charm. He ran second to 8 on 18 in the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met over 2,000 metres at Weight for Age back in January. We never saw him for 5 months, and then he came out in the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge and refused to lie down without a fight against Dave the King, who of course is the reigning horse of the year. Was narrowly beaten into second over 1,600 metres. Dean, you first. Would it worry you in any shape or form? The form speaks volumes. We don't have to be concerned about his form. Would it worry you to any great degree that he's only had the one race since the Met?
No, that doesn't bother me. I think his run the other day was a great run behind Dave the King. He won it as a 3-year-old with 53. He ran a great race in the Met. Great run the other day. I've got big respect for him, but never easy to win the July 60. But you've got to include him in everything.
So Richard is the defending champion. He's trained by young James Crawford, who's now flying solo with Father Brett off doing his business in Hong Kong. There's no doubting the ability, there's no doubting the courage, the tenacity. He just refuses to throw in the towel. Does Oriental Charm. Is as brave as they come. He ran you close in the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met, when only going down a half a length by 8 on 18. That was at Weight for Age terms. 8 on 18 is slightly better off at Weight for Age terms this time around with Oriental Charm. It's got a lump 60 kilograms. Last year was 53. Oriental Charm, is he your principal threat?
I would believe so. Drawn one, very hungry trainer. He's going out there in the big world and doing it himself. Saying all that, he did train this horse when he was winning the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and you know, he's putting his mark on the game. So definitely a horse to respect, even though with the weight, I would prefer this race to be a Weight for Age. It would be so much easier. But yeah, he's just got a lot of things happening nicely for him. That last one was insanely good. I saw it, I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. I thought he'd be a kind of horse, they're going to collar him and he's going to lay down, run 4th, 5th. But he really showed a lot of heart. He was starting to make a comeback in the race. Scary horse, yes. But respectful, yes. But we're out there to beat him.
So Oriental Charm, the ruling second favourite, currently at 5-1 in the market. But here is a big boost.
A huge boost, Gray. 8-1 first boost, 7-1 second boost.
8-1 the first boost for Oriental Charm. That's a generous price given his profile. He is the defending champion. Yes, he's got joint top weight of 60 kilograms, but he appears to be in a very good space. Oriental Charm, the benefit of Stallgate 1, and of course JP van der Merwe and Oriental Charm, they get on so well together. That leaves us with the ruling favourite, number 11, 8 on 18, who's won 3 Grade 1 races as a 3-year-old already this season. He's won 2 of those Grade 1s against his peers, but of course the first of those Grade 1 victories was when beating the older brigade in the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met. That was back at Kenilworth, Hollywoodbets Kenilworth in January. And the man who has steered him to all of his victories at the highest level, not all of his victories throughout his career, but certainly at the highest level, is Richard Fourie. Richard, I watched your interview with Andrew Bond. You described this horse as being one of the 3 best horses you've ever ridden. You mentioned off air to me that Legislate and another horse in Hong Kong probably joins him in your top 3 that you've ridden, but he's clearly very special to you.
Yeah, look, he does everything right. The older he gets, the better, and the more we'll see of him. just very excited to ride this horse. He really helps you out, and what he did in the Daily News, obviously the field was small, everybody was running away from him for a reason, to keep their weights down, but you know, he's a big boy. I think he weighs like 515 kilos. It's pure muscle, and very exciting horse to ride.
So in the Daily News, you obviously circled the field. To be fair, you quickly gobbled them up. And then he showed a tendency to want to run from the centre of the track to the far running road. Does that in any way concern you if you've got to deliver your run on Saturday? Come Saturday in the Hollywoodbets Durban July, if you're looping them, coming towards the outside, is he a horse that tends to hang, or was that just a one-off experience?
I think that's just a maturity thing, but he'll come good.
So 8 on 18, are you without question the one to beat?
I believe so.
Very confident, Richard Fourie. Now, Dean, we've seen these horses that come into the Hollywoodbets Durban July with solid profiles, and this is about as solid as you get. But as Richard said a moment ago, this is not a weight for age race. This is a handicap. It is a handicap with some sort of restrictions. 8 on 18 is restricted to 57 kilograms, can't carry any more, which is 1.5 kilograms better off than weight for age with the top weights. But he's got some older horses and some younger horses below him at the weights. It's never just a formality.
Look, I agree that he's a very good racehorse, and I was impressed the other day in the Daily News. He turned it on, and he's won the Met, he's won the Derby, he's won the Daily News, he's done everything. Only question, not easy for a 3-year-old to carry 57 and win the July. You'll know more about the horse than I do, but but he's a very, very smart horse. But 57 at 3-year-old, that's not going to be an easy task. A great respect for him.
Well, he's currently dominating the betting market at around 15 to 10. That's what 8 on 18 is, which is a short price favourite in the context, not the shortest price favourite ever, but a short price favourite in the context of a race as competitive as the Hollywoodbets Durban July. But here's going to be an opportunity for you to get better than 15 to 10.
Oh, absolutely, Graham. If you believe Richard, okay, which you should, I think 2 to 1 is a gift. Like, that's the first boost, and the second boost is 19 to 10.
So if you're looking to get some 2 to 1, 8 on 18, then you've got 3 minutes on your World Sports Betting platform, your online betting platform with World Sports Betting, to get the job done at 2 to 1. What do you think, Steve? He might be come race time. We are, right now as we sit, 6 days out from the big race. Obviously, there's a bit of water to flow under the bridge as we head into race day on Saturday, but I've heard it said that he could start as short as even money.
So I believe he's going to start 12, 13 to 10 on race day.
So there's only one way that 8 on 18 is going to head as we get closer to race time. It's going to head possibly shorter than 15 to 10. Steve reckons 13 to 10, 12 to 10. So what does that mean? That means 2 to 1 right now is a huge price about number 11, 8 on 18. So that's the World Sports Betting card call for the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July. We're going to take a short break as we head to Belmont for race 4. And when we come back, we'll be chatting about the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes and quickly run through the field. Welcome back to the Harry James restaurant here in the Umhlanga Centre. They're hosting us for this World Sports Betting Card Call for the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and now for the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes for fillies and mares at weight for age. Grade 1 over 1600 metres. The purse is 1.5 million rand. And we're going to touch base with our two guests, Richard Fourie and Dean Kannemeyer. And of course we'll have one boost for each of these runners, just a first boost, and you have 3 minutes in which to claim. And I'm going to alternate between Richard and Dean, but some of the horses, perhaps the ones with more meaningful chances, we'll get a view from both of them. But I'm going to start with Richard as far as the Candice Dawson trained number 1, Just Be Lekker, is concerned, a daughter of William Longsword. Serena Moodley takes the ride, Richard. Big step up for her in this sort of company.
Definitely. 1400 I think would have been a little bit better for her. I think she's finally running off her highest rating ever. So the draw does help, but I think, like you say, big step in class.
Okay, so as far as this race is concerned, we're going in saddlecloth order, which is equal to the draw order. So Just Be Lekker obviously has the benefit of pole position, but she's 40-1 in the betting for the 2025 Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes. I'm sure you're going to go a lot better than that, Steve.
Absolutely, a whopping 55-1, Graham.
55-1 if you fancy a bit of Just Be Lekker from the Candice Dawson stable. And she jumps out of gate number 1, perhaps 1600 metres, a bridge too far, but she does have a touch of class, does number 1, Just Be Lekker. Number 2, White Pearl, is a filly that's promised much, has yet to get it right at the very highest level, but she's never too far away. Dean, White Pearl, she's a daughter of Denon Platina. She's a nice grey attractive filly. She's usually there and thereabouts, but she always just seems to come up a little bit short in the big moments.
Yeah, I agree with you. She's nice for 114, drawn 2, does help a gravel drawn 2, but she never runs a bad race. You've always got to include in those exotics.
So there we go, White Pearl currently at 13-1. Can she deliver and get her first grade 1 success under the belt? If you fancy a bit of White Pearl, what price can we expect from World Sports Betting for the next 3 minutes, Steve?
16-1, Graham.
16-1, number 2, White Pearl. That is the boosted price for White Pearl. Now, surely one of the most genuine fillies in training is Candice Bass Robinson's number 3, Call Me Jetrix. She ran a cracker again the other day. She's yet to finish out of the money in her entire career. She's earned a check every single time that she's come to the races. She's got a handy draw. She's another that doesn't like to throw in the towel. As challenges come on the left and the right, she tries to find a little bit more. I'll touch base with you, Dean, because Call Me Jetrix, obviously all of her racing down in the Western Cape. She's a brave filly. You've seen her in action. You've probably had to take her on with a couple of your own fillies from time to time. She's not an easy filly to get past.
No, and she wrestles off a 108. She's drawn 3, big advantage. But I'm sure she'll be right there in the shake-up.
So Call Me Jetrix, you can't fault her honesty, and she's currently at 18-1 for the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes with World Sports Betting. So do we have another generous stretch here?
I believe this is a generous stretch because I give her a chance in the race. And at 25-1, I think that is a generous stretch.
25-1, Call Me Jetrix gets the services of JP van der Merwe, of course, partners Oriental Charm in the main headliner, having done so with Oriental Charm last year and ending up in the winner's enclosure. Number 4, also well drawn, is Green Sapphire. Green Sapphire is trained, of course, by Sean Tarry, and Sean Tarry is a man that has made much use of the services of Richard Fourie over the years. Richard, Green Sapphire, any kind of a chance at this level?
I think she's a little bit in the deep end. Rode her as a maiden in a 300,000 rand maiden race, and I still climbed off. She's the best maiden in the country, and then she came and won next time. So yeah, she's definitely in the deep end. But the draw does make it a bit easier, and obviously the services of Linkomalo as well.
So Green Sapphire perhaps on the outside looking in, but she has the talent, she has the class. She's currently at 14-1 in the betting market. What can we expect from you, Steve? Be generous.
I am generous. 18-1 is a nice price.
18-1, Sean Terry, he's a man for the big occasion, and Green Sapphire. 18-1 is the stretch for the next 3 minutes. 14-1 is the standard price, and she comes out of gate number 4. Now, well drawn for a change is number 5, Scarlet McCaw. She's a daughter of Horizon. She's very talented. She ran second in the Fillies Guineas down in Cape Town. She chased Fatal Flaw all the way to the line, and of course Fatal Flaw, we'll get to her a little bit later on. She reopposes here. Scarlet McCaw. Dean, nice type of filly when caught in the right type of mood.
Yeah, she's genuine. She's run some very good races, and what's she coming in for 110? Yeah, you know, I think she'll have to work hard on Saturday.
So Scarlet McCaw perhaps needs to recapture that level of form that she showed in the World Sports Betting Fillies Guineas way back round about December. That was at the beginning of December when Scarlet McCaw chased Fatal Flaw home. But she's capable of rising to that level. She's currently at 16-1 in the market. But I see here that World Sports Betting have a feeling that we can be a bit more generous here.
Yeah, I think so, Graeme. At 22-1, she's a nice price.
22-1. The boosted price from World Sports Betting for number 5, Scarlet McCaw, if you fancy her. And as I say, at least this time, she does come out of a nice gate. Now we get to a serious filly. Raskova, one of the leading lights in this race. Her duels with Double Grand Slam are legendary and well documented in the 2 locked horns in this year's renewal of the Majorca Stakes, with Raskova getting home by the width of a cigarette paper. Raskova is number 6 saddlecloth. She's obviously drawn in gate 6. She's currently at 6-1. I'm going to get a quick opinion from both Richard and Dean, as we promised to do with the leading lights. Richard, Raskova can't falter.
No, not at all. And it was only her first run back, a couple months off. She got beat the length and a half by Miamu. Yeah, serious horse. Definitely horse to be scared of.
Quite amazing how close Raskova and Double Grand Slam have run to each other on so many occasions, even when running unplaced in the SA Filly Sprint the other day, over 1,200 metres, a distance too sharp for both of them. Again, there was only a short head between them. I know that you think you were perhaps a touch unlucky to go down in the World Sports Betting KZN Fillies Guineas last season over this track and trip when Raskova got the better of you by half a length. I know you're not riding Double Grand Slam, and we'll get to that in a moment. Yeah. But if you were to choose, forget Mon Petit Cherie just for the moment. Just pretend she's not in the race, and you had the choice of rides between Raskova and Double Grand Slam. Which one would you go for?
Double Grand Slam.
You'd go for Double Grand Slam. That's quite a statement, considering you got beat half a length by Raskova in the Fillies Guineas last season over this track and trip. But that was a very definite, I'd go for Double Grand Slam. More about that little situation in a moment, because as we know, Richard Fourie is retained by Ridgemont. They are the sponsors of the race. They are sponsors of Richard Fourie, and they, in partnership with Devon Heifer, own Mon Petit Cherie. So there's no way that Richard Fourie's been jocked off Double Grand Slam. He's just got to fulfill his honourable engagements, but we'll get back to that in a moment. Dean, after all of that, we're back with Raskova. You would love to train a filly like Raskova.
Yeah, send it to me anytime, no problem. 122 rating, top filly. As you say, not much between the two of them. Double Grand Slam. Nicely drawn, top filly.
Okay, so this time around, it's not just a toss-up between Raskova and Double Grand Slam. That was the case in many of their previous meetings when you had to sort of choose between Raskova and Double Grand Slam. But there are a few others here that feel a bit deeper this time around.
Yeah, I would think so. But there's some nice fillies, you know. We just You know, I've looked at there's 7. There's at filly number 9, Fatal Claw, 11, Spumante Dulce. So it's some terrific fillies running here.
So it might not turn out simply to be a match between Raskova and Double Grand Slam, but we've got so used to them finishing on top of each other, there's not going to be too much to choose between them. Right, Raskova currently 6-1, easy to back, but she's now for the next 3 minutes going to be even easier to back. What's the price?
8-1, Graeme.
8-1 Raskova. I think that sounds like music to the ears of Sandy Arundel. She's probably watching and she likes to have a go with World Sports Betting. Good luck to you guys, because Raskova's done you proud. She's won a Grade 1 this season and she's now seeking to win her second Grade 1. Now we move on. And this is saddlecloth order. This is the draw order. And we're going to number 7, Mon Petit Cherie, who of course has proven her mettle. She's proven her mettle. Now, I asked Richard Fourie the question, if you had the choice of rides between Raskova and Double Grand Slam. Double Grand Slam was a very firm yes from his point of view. Is it fair for me to ask, if you had the choice to ride Mon Petit Cherie or Double Grand Slam, which way would he go, given that he's obliged in view of his retention by Ridgemont to ride Mon Petit Cherie? So I'm not going to ask you the question.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm very happy to be riding Mon Petit Cherie.
You ever the diplomat, you're a wonderful ambassador for Ridgemont, and I'm sure you would be delighted to win the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes aboard Mon Petit Cherie and have Raskova and Double Grand Slam and Spumante Dulce and maybe one or two others firmly in your wake. We know that she's a multiple Grade 2 winner. Does she have it within her to win a Grade 1?
Definitely. You know, she's a young filly. She's got a long way to go still. This would be the cherry on the cake, beating those fillies. It's not going to be anything easy, but full faith in James Crawford. He's doing a fine job with the filly up in the high fell, so she's training at altitude. It definitely does bring another an attribute to her performance. And yeah, looking forward to it. She's not a small girl. She's way over the 500 kilo mark. Young at mind, but she can definitely turn it on as good as those others.
So there we go. Mon Petit Cherie, a serious runner, currently at 7-1. Let's hear from Steve what they prepare to offer about Richard Fourie, Mon Petit Cherie, Ridgemont and Devon Heifer. They've been in cracking form throughout the season. Come on, give us a price.
She's a huge runner, Graeme. And at 9-1, I would get on.
Well, what's stopping you? Steve is already on. I'm only kidding him. Steve's already on. He's taken the 9-1 about Mon Petit Cherie. Number 8 is Minogue. And I can tell you that this is a seriously good filly. She's another one trained by Candace Dawson, stable companion to number 1, Just Be Lekker. Minogue is going to be ridden, of course, by Craig Zaki. And championship-seeking Craig Zaki. What a titanic struggle at the top of the jockey's log between Gavin Lorena, our guest here tonight, Richard Fourie, and Craig Zaki. Minogue, she's in very good form. She had a huge setback earlier in her career, but she's come back fighting. There was lots to like about her last run. And Dean, Minogue, nice type of filly.
Nice type of filly, race of a 108. Never runs a bad race, but I think she's also going to work hard. Will have to work hard on Saturday.
Yeah, she faces, it's there for us all to see, she faces her toughest test to date, and I think the betting market kind of reflects that. Steve, 16-1 currently in the market. What are you offering?
22-1.
22-1. So the Arundels can back Raskova and cover with Minogue and come out on top, whichever wins, but I'm sure they'd be delighted if either Raskova or Minogue was to win. So the favourite for the race in the anti-post market at around 7-2. That's how competitive this year's renewal of the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes is, of course, the ever-popular Double Grand Slam. She might well have got a lot closer in the SA Filly Sprint over 1,200 metres last time. Couldn't find a run. She's had her ups, she's had her downs, she's had excuses, she's had her triumphs. There's no doubting that she's a top filly. The man who's ridden her before to some of her great victories is Richard Fourie. Tell us about Double Grand Slam.
Fine filly. She's been in some big fights. She knows where the winning post is. Very, very unlucky last time. I think if she gets a half a gap, where she can just get a shoulder in, she would have won the race. So I've got a feeling that she'll be around for another season. They'll go back for that race at Hollywoodbets Scottsville Sprint. And going into this race, I think the preparation's been very, very good. Got the hands of Andrew Fortune. You know, she's not a type of filly you want to ride bullish. She likes to slide in hand and quicken off that. The draw is nothing for her. Definitely the most dangerous horse in the race. And I think the only thing that can beat her is the fireworks. After whoever wins the Hollywoodbets Durban July, there's a big firework display. She worked up last year. I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious with her this season. They'll be wary of all those sounds and things, and I'm pretty sure the Snake team will keep her quiet.
One further quick comment. Fair to say that she's really at her best when the pace is on?
I don't think it makes a difference as long as she's sleeping, where she's relaxed. That's where you see that good turn of foot that you saw in the paddock stakes up down in Cape Town. So, scary horse. She's probably at her peak now of her career. I think we're all going to really run hard to try and beat her.
You're obviously hoping to win with Mon Petit Cherie. That's obvious. You're riding Mon Petit Cherie, but double Grand Slam stand between you and a possible win for Mon Petit Cherie?
I think so. Yeah, that's the horse I have to try and beat.
Dean, your impressions of double Grand Slam? The record speaks volumes. You like the way she shaped up for this race, the prep. She galloped the other day at Hollywoodbets Gravel immediately after the July hopefuls were put through their paces. I believe she put up some nice work. I didn't personally see it. I was involved in the panel discussion with Kevin Shea and Anthony Delpeche at the time. But if you were her trainer, would you be happy with the way she's come along into this race?
Yeah, no, she's a very good filly. 122, great sprint the other day. She's a smart filly.
So there we go, double Grand Slam. You're ruling 7-2 favourite. What can we get out of World Sports Betting for the next 3 minutes?
A great price at 9-2.
Well, I have to say I agree with Steve. 9-2 about double Grand Slam in a race of this nature is certainly a fair price and a little bit of a stretch. So if you're looking to get on to double Grand Slam at 9-2, you've got 3 minutes in which to do so. Now a filly that has won twice at the highest level, Fatal Flaw. She was a runaway start to finish winner of the World Sports Betting Cape Fillies Guineas. Then she went up to the Highveld, returned to the Highveld for James Crawford and Brett. Now, of course, flying solo is James. Won another Grade 1, Fatal Flaw. Dean, she's a seriously, seriously talented filly. Perhaps has to be ridden a certain way to get the job done, but clearly a player here.
No, she's definitely a player, yeah. I mean, when she came, I think she was badly drawn in the Guineas in Cape Town, but she got over, I think, P. Australian Road and won well. I've got to have great respect for her. She's a top filly.
Richard, it's interesting that Striker reunites with Fatal Flaw because of the weight he missed out last time. He's ridden Fatal Flaw 6 times for 3 wins and 3 seconds, yet to be out of the top 2. He rode an absolute perler in the Fillies Guineas down in Cape Town to run them off their feet and win it start to finish. Fatal Flaw, though, does she sit a little bit below the top as far as you're concerned, or is she able to land a race as prestigious as the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes?
Look, there is the ability, but I also think that she likes a soft lead, and this is not the kind of race you're going to get a soft lead in. The guys are all going to hustle for position. She's coming from a wide draw. It's not easy to come from a wide draw, especially because you're jumping on the turn. Like, it's quite a bit of a curve before you get a little bit of a little stretch and then a curve again. So I don't think she's going to have it easy. That concerns me with her. I think if she was drawn 5 or 6, she'd be right there already. But I think there's a lot of work, and the guys know that she's going to come, and they're going to keep her there.
So there we have Richard's expert views on Fatal Flaw, dual Grade 1 winner coming into this race. She's currently trading at 5-1, but here's the word from Steve as to what you can get for the next 3 minutes or so.
7-1, Graeme.
7-1 from World Sports Betting. The stretch, get into number 10, Fatal Flaw. Pierre Stradham gets a very, very good tune
out of the Daughter of New Predators. So Spumante Dolce, representing the powerful De Kock team. Spumante Dolce, she runs here in preference to the Hollywoodbets Durban July. Remember, she took on the boys in the Daily News 2000. I think that was a kind of a feeler for the De Kock team, Mike and Matthew, to see which way they were going to go. She was soundly beaten in that race by 8 on 18, and they decided to wave the white flag as far as the July was concerned, believing she'd be very, very competitive here in the R1.5 million Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes. She is, in fact, the second choice in the market. I'm going to get a quick view from both Richard and Dean. They'll have seen Spumante Dolce. They know the family. They know how good the De Kock team is in preparing these fillies for these huge races. Spumante Dolce, first of all, Richard, your impressions?
Well, I think she'll relish with a little bit more further trip. I think she's definitely a filly to follow into Cape Town for the Paddock Stakes. I think that's probably her ultimate sort of target. Saying that when she ran her bad race, she also came back a little bit sick. So if you take that run away where she got beat 12 lengths by Fourie Pegasus, her form is immaculate. So I think she's had a very good comeback after that. She's run very good races. Her last run was a superb run. She beat all the boys in the Daily News. So the form is there. I just think mentally she might still be on the soft side. She's a nice big girl. I just think she'll be a much nicer filly at Kenilworth.
All of that being said, she obviously had a tough task from the draw in the Fillies Guineas the other day, the World Sports Betting Fillies Guineas, which you won on Mon Petit Cherie, yet she wasn't too far away. So clearly, Dean, there can't be too much to choose between Mon Petit Cherie and Spumante Dolce. And if Richard fancies Mon Petit Cherie to run a big race, then clearly Spumante Dolce comes right into the frame.
Definitely. I think she's improving filly. 11 draw, not a great draw, jump on the turn. But I think she's on the up and ran a very good race the other day in the Daily News.
Spumante Dolce trading at 4-1. How wide are World Sports Betting WSB prepared to go in terms of a boost?
So we're going to go 5-1, Graeme, for the next 3 minutes.
5-1 Spumante Dolce. So on the boost, it's 9-2 Double Grand Slam, 5-1 Spumante Dolce, 7-1 Fatal Flaw, 8-1 Raskova, 9-1 Mon Petit Cherie. Those were the boosted prices. We've got 3 more to go quickly. 2 outsiders firstly, number 13 Beating Wings, got a bit of a wide draw to overcome, and 13 VJ's Angel. We know that she won at the highest level as a 2-year-old. Quick comment, Beating Wings, Richard?
I would say probably better over a little bit further, but from that draw, probably ride a bit cold, and she can maybe run into the quartets.
Steve, she's currently 22-1. How far out are you prepared to go?
We're prepared to go to 30-1, Graeme.
30-1, the boosted price for number 12 Beating Wings, number 13 VJ's Angel. She's a bit of an enigma. There's no doubting that she's got the ability to surprise them at the very best level. She won at the highest level, as I said, a Grade 1 race as a 2-year-old. She kind of runs there and then not so well. She's got a bit of a mind of her own. I guess some of the lads sitting around here and Harry James will say, well, she's a typical filly. What can we expect? Tony Peter trains. Dean, VJ's Angel. What do you make of her?
She's got ability. But I remember a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 months ago, she refused to gallop, I think, in Johannesburg. And so she could be, as you said, could be temperamental, not a great draw, but she's got loads of ability.
Got the ability, VJ's Angel, there's no doubting that. I'm sure they're disappointed in having to jump out of stall gate number 13. She's currently 25-1, so very easy to back in the market, and you're stretching her even further.
Do 35-1.
35-1, VJ's Angel. She is a Grade 1 winner, so she's got that on her CV. You can never take that away from her. Can she surprise? Can it be 13, lucky for some, VJ's Angel? And to complete the field, the 14-horse field for the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes is a mare with undoubted ability. That's Asia Pambili. She's got very good form. She's a magnificent-looking specimen. Asia Pambili, she's won over 1,600 metres in the past. She's more recognised as a 1,200 metre sprinter. I'm going to get a quick comment from both Richard and Dean, because she's certainly an interesting runner here, is Asia Pambili. She's probably going to go for the Mercury as well before the season closes. I'm sure that Hollywood Racing would love to get a grade 1 before the 31st of July, and before she probably goes off to stud and will do herself proud as a mare on the farm. Richard, Asia Pambili.
I think if she was drawn 4, 5, 6, then she was a serious runner. She's still got a massive chance. I just think they've got to focus on her turn of foot. She could be coming on the outside, flying late, and maybe even still win it from there.
Dean, you know the mare well, Asia Pambili. She's she's a high quality mare. Can you see her possibly with a little bit of luck in running? She's got a wonderful turn of foot. I'm not sure that she doesn't get the 1,600. I think she'll display that turn of foot. But as Richard said, it would be a lot easier if she was better drawn.
Yeah, drawn 14 over 1,600 metres. Although you say she's won over a mile, but she could be more speed. It's going to be difficult for her from that draw.
So it's going to be difficult for Asia Pambili. She's quoted at 18-1 for a reason. She's got the quality, she's got the form, she's got the ability, but she hasn't got the draw. And for that reason, she's easy to back at 18-1. But wait, you'll get even better.
25-1.
25-1 Asia Pambili. Even I have to say, notwithstanding the fact that she's coming up against the cream of the crop over 1,600 metres, notwithstanding the fact that she's drawn out in gate number 14, 25-1 represents in percentage terms a 4% chance of winning. I think she's got a better than a 4% chance of winning a race like this, even though she's coming up against some real tough opposition. Well, that's it. We've been through the Hollywoodbets Durban July field. We've been through the Ridgemont Garden Province Stakes field. We hope that you've taken advantage of the wonderful, wonderful boosted prices that WSB have offered this evening. It would be remiss of me before we close not to address Richard. He's got some other rides on the day, and there's a lot of talk for one or two of those. I say he's got a lot of rides. Actually, from a numerical sense,
a handful.
Not too many. He's having a half a day off, I think, but he's obviously got the pressure of 8 on 18. He's got Pink Pigeon, Another Dance for Me, Malmesbury Missile, and Cherry and No. So only 5 out of 12 for a man who's chasing the championship. But it'll give him a chance to perform at his very best. Now, Pink Pigeon's got the worst of the draw to overcome. It's a minor race. She'll have every chance. Richard will give her every chance. I want to talk about Another Dance for Me, because we spoke about Alan Creef raiding with My Best Shot. He's raiding with this 2-year-old filly, Another Dance for Me, who's unbeaten 4 from 4. How special is she?
Look, she's definitely in the top 3 or top 4 in the yard. We've travelled successfully, and we're quite bullish about her being here and her chances, and just looking for a nice, good, clean run, and every chance.
So Another Dance for Me, she is second favourite in the 2-year-old race. Those 2-year-old races are going to be interesting, and Richard Fourie is looking to ride a double in the 2-year-old Grade 2 features, because not only is he riding Another Dance for Me, but there's a lot of talk around for Malmesbury Missile. Now, you won the gate crash at stakes on Malmesbury Missile. What kind of feel did he give you? How's his prep going, and what are you expecting?
Wonderful horse, still growing. I think there's a lot more to come in the future with him. And yeah, these races are just stepping stones. I know it's a Group 2, it sounds big, but we want to see what he does as a 3-year-old, and when he trains on, and see where he ends up.
And Richard is also riding Cherry and No on the day, but his big rides, his big engagements on the day are Another Dance for Me, Malmesbury Missile, and of course the headliner, 8 on 18. So many racing fans. He is the favourite, will be shouting 8 on 18 home. Dean, you've obviously got the Real Prince. You, one person in the stands that will not be shouting for 8 on 18. You'll be shouting for the Real Prince. That's the nature of racing. And of course, the beauty of racing, that everybody's got an opinion. Not everybody's going to be on 8 and 18. They're going to be amongst the 45,000 people that are expected at Hollywoodbets Gravel on Saturday. Every horse is going to have a fan, but we've heard about the Real Prince. Anything else you fancy on the day?
Well, of my runners, Vernon Goddess was a bit disappointing last time, but just freshened up. Educator better than our last one. And I would say Kakenoff and a good fourth the other day, Alan Robertson, as you draw in 11. Not going to be easy. Aristocratic won well. That's a big step up into this race. We don't know how good these 2Ls, who's improving, who's not improving. But I think he'll continue to improve. And then I've got Outlaw King, never runs a bad race, and Rich Folks Hoax, just got beat last time, shorty.
Rich Folks Hoax towards the end of the race day. If you're in trouble, you might want to go home Rich Folks Hoax. Because Dean Kannemeyer runner has a bright chance. Underworld, don't forget about Underworld in the 1600 metres. There look to be some attractive bets on the card, but as always, it's going to be a hugely competitive 12-race program. We start around just before noon. We go into the evening under the new lights, the light show. It's all going to be a wonderful atmosphere at Hollywoodbets Gravel on Saturday, this Saturday, the 5th of July. We trust you're all going to be on course, well, as many of you as possible on course. Those of you that can't get to Durban, enjoy the live coverage of the race day. On behalf of Richard, Dean, Steve Carroll and myself, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful week.